Red vs Giovanni. If you know Pokemon, you know these guys have beef. But we're not going to be talking about your usual Origins throwdowns where Red beats Giovanni, makes him turn good. Instead, we're going to be talking about the manga. That's what we do here. You already know the gist. Here, Giovanni's the type of guy who says, why be a good guy when I can double, in fact no, triple down on my evil schemes? And all this is going to be making Red literally see red. So listen up, because we're going to be talking about throwing straight hands, kidnapping loved ones, attempting murder numerous times, and of course, the classic, creating bioweapons like Cell. What am I talking about? Well, you're just going to have to weigh in here. First things first, we got to establish the standings between these two. Because this beef didn't just spawn out of nowhere, it was a long time coming. And honestly, Giovanni was asking for it. At this point, Red's a rookie trainer, overconfident, thinking his hometown's his block, in other words, living in a bubble. On the other hand, we've got Giovanni, who in this universe is extremely successful in his crime business. Around the region, he's got men scouring the place for legendary Pokemon. He's got the gym leader Koga and more men testing out Poke drugs and using said drugs on Pokemon. I'm talking rare candies grounded up into syringes type B. He has Lieutenant Surge conducting Pokemon theft and trafficking through the sea on the SS Anne. He has Sabrina using a psychic Pokemon to keep Saffron Sea on lockdown, blocking anyone from entering. He's got Blaine conducting experiments forcing Pokemon to go rampant in areas they're not meant to be in. But most important out of all of these, he has a scientist team led by Blaine creating Mewtwo, the intention of it being the ultimate weapon. And all this is happening with no one competent to stop them. I mean, like, Celadon Sea has an army, but let's be for real, these guys aren't doing anything. And as far as I'm aware, there sure ain't any Officer Jennies around. So as you can see, this man has an army of men, genetically modified Pokemon, 4 gym leaders loyal to him, and worst of all, a living weapon in the works. So pretty much, the entire Kanto region is his block, and you're not allowed to step on it. Bro might actually be an Italian mafia boss. Out of every Pokemon villain, he's definitely got the best setup for himself off rip. But of course, he's still gonna find a way to fumble this bag. Eventually, Red sets out on his journey and runs into Team Rocket on a couple of occasions. Now normally, when they see an organization getting an uprising, this is where most people say, let me come up with a plan to take them down. But nah, Red said let me just brute force everything. He fights Koga, nearly gets killed, but manages to escape. Fights Surge, nearly gets killed again, but wins, stopping all the smuggling. Then he fights Koga again in Lavender Town, and once again, nearly gets killed, but gets locked out by Blue. And if that wasn't bad enough, he sneaks into Team Rocket's lab and plays a major part in stealing the Mew data they need to complete Mewtwo. Alright, Red's plot armor aside, you gotta address the elephant in the room. You've got an all-star lineup, and yet fruit balls are being sent in every single time. I don't know what requirements you gotta fulfill to join Team Rocket, but clearly it's not that tough. I know Red's plot armor's moving like Luffy right now, but making a fool out of them and actively causing major disruptions in Giovanni's plan is something that can't be allowed. Obviously, Giovanni gets word of this, and he's like, alright, guess I gotta deal with it myself. So Mr. Big Boss befriends Red in order to scour her skills. He initially writes him off as just being a kid, but after seeing the boy's ideas, he's like, yo, I should probably kill him right here and now. Red, however, decides to spare some Pokemon that were trying to kill him. And Giovanni's like, damn, this guy really is just a kid, and decides to let him live another day. Since Project Mewtwo ended up failing because of Red, they decide to catch a legendary bird instead. By now, Giovanni's had enough giving Kanto mercy, and decides it's time to dominate the region. And his first action is going to Pallet Town and abducting every single person there. You're probably wondering, why is he doing this? Well, that's just to punish the heroes who have been constantly getting in his way. Not only that, because the people of Pallet Town are so pure and innocent, they might be able to lure out Mew. He doesn't give a damn if they're innocent people, they share the same hometown as the people openly opposing it, so he's gonna teach them a lesson. And since he has Professor Oak, he can force him to take Blaine's place as head scientist. At this point, Blaine had created Mewtwo, but it was kinda faulty since they didn't have enough Mew data, and the Pokemon just ran away. So you know, there's just a loose crazy monster running around Kanto, just doing whatever it wants, you know, tearing up the region, no one can stop it. Now, back to the topic at hand, this choice probably wasn't the best one, as all it did was make Red angrier and want to take down Team Rocket even more. So with his ride or die Blue, he just rolls in and everyone in their path gets cooked. You got Surge and Zapdos. Everything here is electrified, but I'm the only one with gear that resists it. Doesn't matter, he gets cooked. You got Koga and Articuno. I'm a ninja with an ice bird, so I'm much faster and can freeze opponents. Literally had Red and Blue on the roast, but it doesn't matter, he gets cooked too. Why are these guys even hired at this point? They have everything going for them, and they still manage to job it somehow. Team Rocket has a backup plan though, as combining the power of the 3 legendary birds, as well as the gym badges, he can create some kind of legendary abomination that controls fire, ice, and, oh, what's that? Yeah, cooked as well. So yeah, even with Team Rocket throwing everything Giovanni had created for them, they still somehow managed to mess it up, and everything the guy owns is crumbling down. Legendary birds, they've escaped. The men, they got captured. And of course, the guys in charge managed to somehow slip away. But where Origins Giovanni saw this as a time to give up, this Giovanni said this is a chance to rebuild anew. And he has a perfectly devious plan to do it. At the Battle of Sylph Cove, he purposefully didn't get involved, and instead left everything to the gym leaders. Meanwhile, he himself went to the Viridian gym in order to meet his greatest foe. And bro is moving like Dio here. You thought it was some random guy? Nah, it was me, Giovanni, the whole time. Red is understandably tweaking out, and like, yeah, for sure. It's pretty much the same as saying, oh, in order to get this black belt, you gotta beat El Chapo in a fight. So he's thinking to himself, am I gonna get jumped? Do I gotta strike him first? But Giovanni, he's just as chill as can be, reading out every single one of Red's thoughts to him as if he can see the speech bubbles on the page himself. His confidence is so high that he just drops all of his Pokeballs on the floor and says, Red, bring your best. Just pure straight rage bait, making Red look like some side character. This guy falls for it head first, trying to get Giovanni with that fine type right hook. But as usual, Poliwrath sells for the team and gets one tapped. Red then gets speed blitzed out of nowhere by Cloyster. This man Giovanni starts monologuing, like he's that guy. I'm not gonna even try to do an Italian accent because I already know I don't got that. It took you 1 second to grab your Pokeball, another second to throw it, and then one more for that lame Poliwrath to throw an attack. Giving me enough time to grab a Pokeball from the floor and boom that fool.
This is crazy.
Cause this Unk is just straight up abusing his adult body and clowning the 11-year-old he's fighting for not being able to keep up. But now it's time for what Giovanni was really planning. Cause he switches up real fast and starts gassing up Red, saying, you got potential, kid, but what you need is to be on the right side to make use of it. You beat all the bums on my team. Now I'm looking into signing you a contract to play in the big leagues. What do you say? Red of course declines this, like why would he join the man responsible for all the evil in the region? But Giovanni already knows this. So to fully manipulate Red into his hands, he lays out the situation. He's got his Pokeballs all on the floor, and Red still has 5 of them. If Red wins, he's free to go. But if he loses, he has no choice but to join his side for the rest of his life. And this man is a mastermind. He lured his kid, rage baited him into getting emotional, then gassed him up just to try pressure him into joining his group. Red's an honorable guy, he doesn't back down from fate. But even he can see the situation isn't playing out well for him. The smart choice is to say no, walk away, try to get some help. So Giovanni pushes even more buttons. If you're afraid, little bro, just say so. I ain't gonna hold you for it. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. As Red says afraid? Have you not seen me risking my life countless times against everything that crosses my sight? I went toe to toe with a Nidoking with no Pokemon. And what this kid does is put his own Pokeballs on the floor to fight fair. Bro, I'm a Red supporter for life, but this was not the play. You just got baited hook, line, and sinker into the worst situation you could ever be in. You're alone, you have 5 Pokemon, and after one already got whooped in one hit, you wanna fight fair? Brother, you already swung on this man when he had the disadvantage, and he got cooked for it. Instead of talking about honor, you should be getting some pocket sand and dashing out of the man. And Giovanni agrees, he's already got that damn smirk on his face. So the battle begins and both trainers dash for their Pokeballs, and Red actually makes it there first. And he's not messing around as he sends out Snorlax first. Things are looking good as well because he starts swinging without even seeing his foe. But Giovanni's cheesing already, revealing he let Red speed blitz him in order to pick a Pokemon perfect for countering Snorlax. And out of the smoke comes a left hook, then a right hook, and Snorlax already sleeping. The Nidoqueen then picks him up and says,
Jolly good share.
sending the Pokemon smashing through a wall. And usually, this means hold on everyone, take a second for Red to take out his next Pokemon. Nah, Giovanni's here to put Red into the ground, cause he sends Golem to start crushing the kid. At this point, even Red knows he's gotta lock in, and decides to let Golem go crazy. Eventually, it's gonna get bored and go for the knockdown Snorlax. And when he does, Snorlax goes bar for bar and collides with Golem. And he hit him so hard that Golem begins crumbling. That right there is the weakest rock type I've ever seen. Golem crumbling allows Giovanni to use his best attacks, Rock Throw and Explosion. And when bro opens his eyes, the battle's all over, as he's held at needle point. Giovanni takes a chance to clown Red again. From the moment that Red chose Snorlax, he already planned to take the battle outside and blow everything up. And here we are with that being the exact case. I'm looking at things side to side and he might be Aizen. Red's literally back to a wall, but he doesn't give up. Instead, he does one of the coldest things in Pokemon, rolling a Pokeball under his foot and opening it against the wall, unleashing Aerodactyl and giving himself wings. Yeah, put this guy in the Hall of Fame. No one's pulling out techniques like him. Even Giovanni's shocked by this, and after a Hyper Beam from the skies, Beedrill goes down. Somehow though, Giovanni managed to escape through a hole in the ground. Because of it, the gym begins to collapse. A piece of rubble's about to hit Polly, so Red has to make a dive like he's a football player, sacrificing himself for Poliwrath. Now, I respect this play. He can't let his day one just die, so he chose to make the sacrifice play. But this could have been avoided if he just returned the Pokemon to his Pokeball, rather than just leaving Bro conked out in the corner. Either way, they barely escaped the collapsing gym, and they're met by a Nidoking, and Bro's like, "So you like to beat down on Nidokings, huh?" And that's not even all, as the rest of Giovanni's gang's all posted up as well. Little reminder, this is an 11-year-old. Giovanni says it's time to lock in and start using ground types, taking down Aerodactyl with a tail whip. Somehow. He then commands for sure to apparently trap Red. But we all know if that move hits, it's gonna be more than a one-hit KO. Giovanni does some more aura farming, but Red doesn't give a damn about that, since he spoiled the rest of his Pokeballs. So he makes a leap for them, only for them to get sent flying by a Daltrio. And if that wasn't bad enough, the attack broke the opening mechanism, trapping Red's Pokemon inside. And at this point, Red's at the lowest of the lows. He's done everything he can, but he couldn't close the experience gap. Giovanni then starts explaining his entire plans to his future right-hand man, including the fact that he's been using his gym as a perfect cover to complete his crimes. Red's the only one who knows his identity, so if he loses here, everything in Kanto is beyond cooked. And the clutch king himself, Pikachu, hears this, bouncing his Pokeball all the way to Red, giving him the boost he needs to make the final attack. But Giovanni's already seen this future as well. Pikachu was Red's last Pokemon, and is 100% going to be going for Thunderbolt, even against ground types, since this guy can hit those sometimes. It will then take 1 second to leave his Pokeball. After 2 more seconds, Thunderbolt will be charged, and after another 2, it will finally unleash this attack, equating up to 5 decisive seconds. These guys really be analyzing battles to the second and still having the time to yap in between. This might be Blue Lock chat. So with the future decided, Red and Giovanni both go for the attack. But things are already looking pretty different. At 5 seconds, Pikachu's left its ball. At 4, it's inbound. And at 3, it's already fully charged. And at 2 seconds on the clock, it's already frying Giovanni and his Pokemon. Now you're probably wondering, how did Red make that 1 second difference to win this match? Well, that's due to Pikachu charging inside his Pokeball. Giovanni, of course, is like, what the actual hell? That's straight impossible. It's literally thousands of volts. But the answer to his question is the man's own weapon, being electric immune gloves owned by Team Rocket. After seeing this, Giovanni faints on the spot, believing his own downfall to be his own creation. And Red's like, nah bro, your downfall was all the suffering you caused to poor Pokemon.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Alright, let's be for real for a second. We all know Red lucked out big time here. If Giovanni knew he was wearing those gloves, he'd literally be finished, spending the rest of his days as a slave to Team Rocket. Giovanni really was that guy. The only guy who could beat him was him. Now, after this final battle, you can probably imagine these two never want to see each other's faces again. And that's for sure true for Red. Giovanni, on the other hand, is a man who sees the bigger picture, so he decides to keep himself out of the spotlight and rebuild quietly, only stepping in when there's a mutual villain. And so a couple years pass by and Red's grown up, now being 16 years old. And after all the adventures he's been on and all the good he's done, he's become a celebrity. A hero, if you will. But you know what they say, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Now what I mean by this, you're gonna have to wait and see, because this one-on-one beef is about to turn into a two-on-one beef. So one day, Red and Blue are going to meet with Professor Oak at his lab. Instead of the old man, they find themselves getting jumped by an invisible entity. Once they deal with this entity, they then find a letter from Oak, being to leave behind their Pokedexes so he can take them away. It's pretty suspect, but Red and Blue do just that. Their next stop is to head to Vermilion Harbor, where coincidentally, Green is also there, as she's going to be going to the Sevi Islands to meet her parents, for the first time since being abducted. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff, but I don't got time to explain it right now. On the ship, Green also finds herself getting jumped, and since she's alone, she can't hold her own like the other two. Eventually, her parents spot her, but they get dropped into a dark abyss when they get close. So now we got a creature making pulls to darkness like he's part of an organization, and going ghost like he's Danny Phantom. Red and Blue catch wind of what's going on, and after doing some research with Bill, they're finally able to see what this mysterious creature they're up against is. And of course, they don't got a clue what it is. What they do know is every time they fight it gets away and they end up with more questions. So they do what every main character does when they need a power-up. Go on a training arc with a senior citizen, unlocking Blast Burn and Frenzy Plant. Now, you're probably wondering where Giovanni comes into all this. Well, as we see, Deoxys is flying around the Sevi Islands, thrashing everything in his path. And Giovanni's decided to make his return to public eye, with the intention of tracking down the space alien. And this time, he's not playing around. No more smirking and rage baiting, just straight mean mugging everyone. Not only that, this time he's got himself some actual competent henchmen. We got Frankenstein's monster, vampire lady, and apparently this little dude, who's meant to be based on a werewolf. Allegedly at least, cause nothing about him screams that, so we're just gonna call him little dude. Now as part of Giovanni's special forces, their job is to personally beef with red, blue, and green. And can't lie, they're doing a mighty good job at it, cause as soon as Red sees them, he starts crashing out immediately. There with his worst enemy, they jumped him and his friends with some weird alien, and worst of all, they abducted Green's parents. Damn bro, chill out. Bro's raging so hard he's taking up the whole panel. And look at little dude taking a page from his boss's book. Rage being Red to charge straight at them, only for him to catch a nuke straight to the face. Bro, this guy should know better than to fall for the same trick twice, by two different guys. And look at Frankie here off to the side, talking about some, damn, what a sorry ass fool to go out that quick. Now, that would have been the end of this video. Luckily for Red, Lorelei bailed him out at the last second. So after getting cooked immediately in their first battle, Red and the gang have to go into hiding, or else they'll just get cooked again. But as I've said, Team Rocket ain't playing around no more. Hacking the TV station and letting everyone on the Sevi Islands know they're gonna boom all the islands if they don't start bringing the Dex orders. These guys really pulling out Cell's tactic against 18 right now. And they're not bluffing either, because Team Rocket start booming the place immediately, not even wasting any time on it. Talking about, you better bring us those kids right now. Bro, even them themselves are saying it. They're kids. You're hunting down kids. Either way, the fade is inevitable at this point, and Red is itching to run it back, especially with Lil Dude. And that guy's already straight geeking. He's blowing things up so quickly that even if Red did agree to their terms, the whole place would already be gone. He then turns to his fortress and is like, hey, wanna do a kamikaze attack on the Pokemon Center? And it's like, heck yeah, dude. This is literally the equivalent of going to a hospital. And yeah, you get the point. Luckily for everyone, Red has finally learned to stop explosion. So this time, it's Little Dude's turn to start crashing out. And they try to eat Red with Steelix. But Polly's decided to lock in as well. And the two of them get to cooking Little Dude properly. Like, this guy was trying everything. Iron Tail? Nah buddy, have a nice flight. Then he pushes up on him with his gang. And look at Pikachu. He finally gets to be the one dishing out these decapitation threats. So Red beats the Little Dude and forces him to tell him all of Giovanni's plans. Like, he hasn't seen the guy for 5 years. Now he's randomly attacking them? Well, that's because apparently, the Pokemon Deoxys has an attraction to the Dex orders of Pallet Town. Now, as much as Red would like to keep getting answers, he still has to help the victims of the attack. Instead of being grateful, the people start getting angry at him.
Is this serious?
They don't give a damn about if Red stopped one guy. The rest of the team will keep attacking anyway. And if you thought that was it, nah. These guys take it a step further and start stoning him. These grown adults pick up rocks and start stoning a 16-year-old child who just saved their lives. Are we deep in how crazy this is? This is the type of thing that you'll see in a Naruto edit, and everyone in the comments will be like, if I was Naruto, I would have turned evil. Bro, I would have turned evil too. Thing is, Red isn't even angry about it. He just walks away. Well, at least that was the plan. But both feel some crazy spiritual pressure. And he already knows if he doesn't get a move on right here and now, he's about to be finished. But it's too late, as Deoxys has already pulled up on him, and Bro is already in attack form. So in other words, he's here to take lives. Red wastes no time in getting into business, but the Pokemon has an arsenal of forms and swaps to defense. It then begins to glow and says, you know what? Screw tentacles, we're throwing hands, straight up punching Red out of the sky. Then it's like, you ready for?
Target acquired.
He switches back to attack form with tentacles and stabs Aerodactyl's wings. Snorlax's Big Back is up next, and Bro throws a heavy haymaker, even overshooting a bit. But Deoxys is like, nope, that ain't enough, pal. Going back to defense. Bro be switching between things like he's Rio. Since Red doesn't have the Pokedex, he's gonna have to rely on his pure brains to figure things out. And Little Dude on the other hand, has his own evil Pokedex, and he's got everything figured out. So now we know why Oak wanted the Pokedexes. It's because Bro got kidnapped again. So with no other option, Red has to keep fighting, and he strikes with Thunder, directly hitting Deoxys. And this hit was actually critical, as it hit the Pokemon in its chest, and it starts tweaking out. But it's still not enough, as the Pokemon heals up, and due to pressure, Pikachu won't be firing any more Thunders anymore. Then Deoxys is like, I've had enough of all of y'all. Firing off a Psycho Boost. This crap is so strong that you can see Red literally about to get vaporized like he's Cell. But like always, he gets saved at the last moment by his gang, who end up all taking the hit for him. Okay, let's get things straight. We got a beef with Red and Giovanni, and now a third party in Deoxys has entered the fray. Whilst it is beefing with Red, it hasn't allied itself with Giovanni. In other words, we got a three-way beef going on here. Especially since Giovanni's literally hunting the thing down. As for the other two fights, Frankenstein got cooked by Blue, to no surprise, but Lorelei ended up getting packed out by Vampire Lady. And she's now in talks with Giovanni on Deoxys, and these guys are looking to set this 1v1v1 into a 2v1. After all, they have something that might interest Deoxys. Back when it fought Red, it was glowing, and that's due to it not being complete. But Giovanni and Team Rocket have all they need to make it perfect. The others then go meet with Red, only to find Homeboy and his squad laid out. And all bro can say is,
Fucking hell, man. I'm finished.
the score is currently 2-0 to Team Rocket and Deoxys and nothing to Red's gang. And they're all trying to come up with a plan quick before this alliance is settled. But Red, he ain't even listening. You already know he's got some crazy Evanescence playing in his head right now. Blue's like, bro, you good? But Red's already lost it. After getting whipped that bad, he doesn't want to smoke anymore. First they lost their Pokedexes, and now everyone hates them. So he's at rock bottom right now. The others try hype him up with that David Goggins method, but he ain't hearing it, so he's out of here. As for Team Rocket, they're sky high, as they've cornered Deoxys, and with his power, Giovanni can complete his true goal, being to reunite with his son. So everyone thought he was doing evil things because he was on that timing, but nah, he's a fraud. He wants a psychic Pokemon so that he can use it to find his son, who was kidnapped from him. Can't lie, bro might be as washed as Red right now. He's been living his life this whole time as a deadbeat, and now he wants to start finding his son? The reason for this is bro's gonna kick the bucket and he needs a new heir. Funniest thing is, he's been doing all these evil things, but if he just asked nicely, he probably would have just been able to get the same result. These hero characters are pretty forgiving, but nah, here we are nuking islands. Back with Red, bro is running on the beach like he's Troy Bolton. I can't blame him, sometimes you just need those moments where you have to be alone and start wilding out. Only issue, he didn't realize the host was watching, so now he's gotta wipe away all the tears and start acting nonchalant like nothing happened. They attacked the Savvy Islands because of me, so I'll just leave. After all, I don't have my Pokedex anymore. Nah man, what the hell is this? Green ain't hearing this man out though, and tells him that Oak took the Pokedexes not because he got kidnapped, or because he wasn't worthy. Instead, he just wanted to upgrade them. As for Deoxys, she didn't fight it so she doesn't know how scary it was, but she's not gonna change her mind, she's still gonna fight it. In other words, she's telling Red to stop whining and being a little. Red, however, is still feeling like a fraud. He spends a little longer in his fields before having a discussion with Pikachu. Back when he fought Deoxys, he felt his presence before it appeared, and his body felt a feeling like never before. He knew that the Pokemon was extremely powerful without even meeting it properly, and he describes his feeling as his heart skipping a beat and his blood flowing backwards. Yeah, we really are dealing with some alien crap right here. So now he's got to get to the bottom of why he can sense the Pokemon. And he's not the only one who has business with Deoxys, as Mewtwo appears, asking to join Red in battle. So this 1v2 has very quickly turned into a 2v2, and with the parties involved, this battle's gonna turn pretty fatal. So now that Red's locked in, the gang head after Team Rocket, and Mewtwo's aura farming like crazy, just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. With his power, they easily complete the rescue operation and save Green's parents and Professor Oak. But it's not gonna be too easy, as an army of Deoxys clones come to jump them. This army is being led to none other than Giovanni, finally making face-to-face appearance with Red. Mewtwo hates the guy's guts for creating him for evil purposes, but now that he's messing with Deoxys as well, he really wants the man dead. But Giovanni just weaves out of the way and blocks all of the Pokemon's attacks. He then puts Mewtwo into timeout, binding it with the same armor from the anime. With Mewtwo now being useless, he leaves the clones to eliminate Red. And damn, he really doesn't see Red as a threat anymore. No more, come join my team, no more rage bait. Just seeing him as pure fodder in the way of him finding his son. And find his son he does, with the power of Deoxys' psychic powers, being in Kanto's Viridian City. Now let's skip all the yapping stuff, because what we're really here for is Red and Mewtwo facing off against Giovanni and Deoxys. As they've been traveling, Giovanni's starting to feel pretty low on gas. Like he's got them heart palpitations going on and shaky vision, even collapsing onto his knees. All his henchmen are busy trying to catch Silver, and to make matters even worse, the guy he thought was a sideliner is here to be the main event. Red's gone through every obstacle he's thrown at him, leaving him no choice but to amend his mistakes from 5 years ago. His airship then opens up, revealing a battlefield right above where his former gym used to be, and it's all about to go down. As Red gets closer, he starts tweaking out again and feels that Deoxys is nearby. Some weird machine then traps them in a pyramid, forcing them to land where Deoxys and Giovanni are. Well boy, how does it feel to look down upon me from such a height? What the hell are you? You're the A-side. Last time we fought, you beat me, and I want you to remember that. This is a rematch, and now I'm a challenger. No gym leader, no Team Rocket leader crap. Just a regular old man who wants to fight the champion. I can't lie, Uncle might still have it, cause that's cold right there. Even got the vest on, bro's ready to brawl. You'd think he'd be throwing hands himself. Now Red ain't no waste man either. He's the GOAT in his own right, and he answers back by removing his own jacket, walking down the steps and meeting Giovanni face to face. Yo, I swear I've seen this before.
イラつくな。てめえだけは殴らずにいられねえ。
上等だ。
Giovanni sets the rules as a legendary versus mythical showdown. Red's like, bet, let's run it. These two aren't the only ones doing a stare down though, as Mewtwo and Deoxys are walking each other down, like they're trying to size each other up. Mewtwo even tries to make a little small talk. He's like, your clones were rocking me, I can't lie. But now that I'm fighting the real you, I'ma go all out. Deoxys on the other hand is one of those guys who doesn't speak, just straight up demon time always. Mewtwo then tries to get jump on him with his psychic spoon, but it doesn't work. It tells Red, you're the code for this one. You better be moving like Alex Ferguson. But you already know Red doesn't watch ball, so all he can say is go. Giovanni on the other hand clearly does, and with a mere lift of his hand, has Deoxys go in for the attack, while switching between all its forms, smashing up daylights out of Mewtwo. This was honestly cold as well, but let's be for real, he had no reason to do this. He could have simply just gone from speed form to attack form. Mewtwo's already looking at the bench for instructions, but Red's like, nah, we ain't doing that. When we're fighting this guy, we just gotta keep spamming our strongest attack at his core. Bro really said F it, we ball, and I respect it. Deoxys easily bats away its attack, and Giovanni's like, damn, bro, you came to fight me with all that talk, but now you're looking like Mega Me, a tried and true potential man. Deoxys then rushes Mewtwo, and it's beating it up bad. Mewtwo tries to push him off, Deoxys like, nope, slapping bro across the chest. This is so sorry, man. Like, this isn't just a one-time thing. Mewtwo's getting speed blitz all the time, putting chokeholds, everything. And at this point, it's safe to say the fight is all With one of the craziest snipes of all time, Mewtwo's early attack comes back down and hits Deoxys directly in his core. The Pokemon starts tweaking out through all of its forms. And Giovanni's like, you lying little. But Mewtwo's like, calm down, Unc. Red didn't have a strategy other than to aim for his core. Everything else was all me. There was no strats. Red's done this enough times to know things are never that simple. Last time he rocked Deoxys, he got angry and nearly killed him. So this time, they gotta keep wailing on him. So Mewtwo calls upon some more energy blasts and starts raining them down on Deoxys. Mewtwo then goes in for the kill, talking about some, I understand it now. And it might be right, because Deoxys gets pushed against the wall with nothing to save it. You may be wondering, how the hell are there tentacles when it's clearly in normal form? Well, that's thanks to an Aurora Veil, giving off an illusion. Truth is, the Pokemon already healed up, and Giovanni still has a couple tricks hidden. But there's no reason to show off his whole hand, so he starts charging up an attack form, Psycho Boost. Red's like, got this shit! But Mewtwo got stabbed up, and he is not going to be moving anytime soon. This is usually where a character's willpower activates, and they find it in them to get up. But nah, Mewtwo really ain't that guy. Both it and Red take a direct hit, close range. Like they be looking like Gohan after he got hit by Majin Buu's attack. And you can see it's all over. Brother hits the wall, and his eyes are looking like Goku vs Broly. It's good night. And Red's like,
with this treasure, I summon.
And starts calling on his team to come save him like he's trying to summon Maharaga. The aura he's losing in this fight is crazy. Even Mewtwo comes back from the dead to say, broski, this is a one-on-one, I got this. And it gets up, throwing the weakest punch I've ever seen from a so-called legendary. This man Mewtwo's really moving like Vegeta right now. And Deoxys doesn't take kindly to that. He's like, and he starts wailing on Mewtwo again. Giovanni starts talking to Red, telling him to back down. We can just see Mewtwo in the background getting whooped. Red ain't finished though, and he says, I know we're getting cooked, but Mewtwo doesn't want to give up, and neither do I. I came here to get a job done, and I'm gonna do anything until it gets done. And he means it, as he starts charging at Giovanni fists up, and leaping at bro. You'd be thinking he was gonna start beating the old guy up, but nah, he feints at the last second to grab the airship remote, activating the pyramid around Mewtwo. Deoxys grabs him trying to stop him, but the damage is done. Now Red is giving Mewtwo the perfect chance to start healing. Giovanni's like, that's gotta be against the rules. But Red's like, you were doing that stuff against me in the first battle, I'm just doing what I can. And with that, Mewtwo recovers enough health to fire off one more attack. Giovanni's like, nah. We've gone through too much to go down to something like this. Telling Deoxys to fly through the skies at max speed. With Red in tow, by the way. If Mewtwo's to hit a fast moving target, it's gonna have to probably hit Red in the process. But Red's like, now's your turn! And just like when Goku and Piccolo fought Raditz, Mewtwo fires the attack directly at the both of them. Well, nearly anyway. It barely misses Red, and Deoxys drops down to the floor, finally defeated. Giovanni's like, bro, what the hell were you doing? Why did you go to defense mode when you could have just kept running? But the Pokemon's tweaking out again, unable to control its transformations. The reason for this is Bill doing some clutch play back on the Sevi Island, but that's not important right now. Yellow then appears out of nowhere, and with her ability, she has the chance to speak to Deoxys, who finally decides to speak up. Now what this Pokemon is saying is crazy. After being silent the whole time, its first words are, Red, I am you. What in the JJK is going on right now? Giovanni's looking pretty guilty, but his body's about to collapse on him, so his assistants come to his side and jump Red. But more importantly, they can explain what Deoxys means. This might be a bit confusing since I'm going to be speedrunning it, so listen very carefully. There was a virus out in space that mutated into 2 different Deoxyses. They were being researched in Hoenn, but Team Rocket caught wind of this and stole the 2 of them for their own purposes. But whilst they were being transported, one of them, named Organism 2, broke out and escaped in order to awaken its true powers. So Team Rocket had Organism 1, the weaker of the 2, go after Red and his friends to make him angry. Red is like, okay, everything was making sense until you randomly brought me into the story. Well, that's because when Red gets angry, Organism 2 gets attracted to his emotions. And by stealing the Pokédexes to create an evil version, they managed to find out how to capture Organism 2. As for Organism 1, yeah, that brother got packed up due to it being unstable. Now for the main part, why Red and Deoxys are connected. Inside this space virus alien Pokemon is actually Red's own blood. Are we still reading a Pokemon manga? So the reason why Giovanni was looking so guilty is because after the battle 5 years ago, Giovanni had the brilliant idea of gathering blood cells in order to strengthen his army. And who better to collect blood from than the 11-year-old boy who whooped him? So he collected drops of blood that Red left at the battlefield and stored them at Team Rocket's base. But when Deoxys escaped, it accidentally broke the tube and absorbed Red's blood, making the Pokemon see Red as its own biological family. But it only knew how to communicate through fighting, which is why Red always felt a weird presence when Deoxys was nearby. I know they didn't say this, but the way I'm taking it, Red likes fighting so much that when the Pokemon absorbed him, fighting was the only thing on his mind. But I don't want to gloss over what I just said. Giovanni, after getting defeated, thought getting blood cells could be a way to make his army stronger. How? Was bro gonna make biological soldiers like he's Frag? No, not even Frag. Cell. This was trying to make Cell in Pokemon. You'd think from the last time when Blaine tried to make Mewtwo with his own DNA that you would know that this doesn't work out, but he did it anyway. I don't even want to think about the kind of creation he was trying to make, but the fact he tried it at all is insane. It's generally no question why Red hates this guy so much. After this, every time they meet, Red just throws stink eyes at the guy, and that's completely understandable. But Giovanni's just off to the side mewing like he never did anything. He's lucky that there's always a bigger problem going around, because otherwise, I don't think he'd be seeing another day. But yeah, that's pretty much all from me. If you enjoyed this type of video, let me know in the comments. It's different to what I usually do, but I'll be happy to make more of it. And yeah, like and subscribe for more videos. Yeah, bye.